see strange things. That has been true for thousands of years. Early civilizations always tried to explain everything around them, including strange animals, giving rise to amazing descriptions of animals that can't be considered nothing else but mythical. As it turns out, some of these so-called mythical creatures actually did exist, with most of the ancient descriptions often exaggerations of what the animal actually looks like. Today we're going to get to know some of the animals that were previously thought of as figments of someone's imagination. Here are 10 mythical creatures that were actually real. Number 1 is definitely a prime example of this, and is actually one of the most recent previously mythical creatures that was proven to be real. Stay tuned to find out just what that is. With all that said and done, let's begin, shall we? Number 10. The duck-billed platypus. When European naturalists first encountered this bizarre creature, they were understandably baffled. Accounts described it as a venomous egg-laying mammal with a duck bill and beaver tail. Many prominent British scientists deemed it a hoax when presented with a sketch and pelt. That was back in 1798. Even when offered a corpse, scholars suspected that it was an elaborate sewn-together fraud. Today, though, this bizarre but fascinating creature is known as the platypus, one of only 5 living monotremes or egg-laying mammals. While formally recognized by science, it is no less unique today. This semi-aquatic creature, native to eastern Australia, swims with webbed feet, uses echolocation to hunt, and possesses an angle spur that in males can deliver a powerful injection of venom. While it is non-lethal to humans, this venom is excruciatingly painful and is not responsive to most painkillers. Number 9. The Komodo dragon. By the early 20th century, Western science had determined that giant lizards were nothing more than a relic of the prehistoric past. Thus, when pearl fishermen returned from the Lesser Sunda Islands in Indonesia with tales of monstrous land crocodiles, their accounts were met with overwhelming skepticism. An expedition from the Bletensorg Zoological Museum in Java produced a report of the creatures, but the legendary dragons of Komodo faded into obscurity as World War I took precedence. Then, in 1926, an expedition from the American Museum of Natural History confirmed that the tales of giant lizards were in fact true. W. Douglas Burton, the leader of the expedition, returned with 12...
I'm the last surviving member of Rescue Team 101.
preserved specimens and 2 live ones. The world was then introduced to the Komodo dragon, a massive monitor lizard that grows up to 10 feet, making it the largest lizard in the world. Komodo dragons possess massive claws and fangs with which they can kill almost any creature on the island, including humans and water buffaloes. One particularly bizarre attribute of these creatures is their venomous bite, which has been attributed to bacteria-laden saliva or venom glands in the mouth. Number 8. The Okapi. Central African tribes and ancient Egyptians described and depicted a bizarre creature for centuries, colloquially dubbed the African unicorn by Europeans. It is known locally by such names as the Ati, or the Oapi, resembling a cross between a zebra, a donkey, and a giraffe. Despite descriptions from explorers and even skins, Western science rejected the existence of such a creature. They viewed it as nothing more than a fantastical chimera of real animals. Determined expeditions uncovered nothing, and it would seem the African unicorn was just as mythical as its namesake. This changed in 1901 when Sir Harry Johnston, the British governor of Uganda, obtained pieces of striped skin and even a skull of the legendary beast. Through this evidence and the eventual capture of a live specimen, the animal now known as the Okapi was recognized by mainstream science. The Okapi is no less unusual today. It is the only living relative of the giraffe, sharing a similar body structure and its characteristic long blue tongue. However, the markings on its back and legs resemble that of a zebra's stripes. Okapis are solitary creatures that remain captivating to scientists. Although they're not endangered, there is so much to learn about their habitats as well as their lifestyle. Number 7. The mountain gorilla. For centuries, tales of large ape men in East Africa have captivated explorers and natives alike. Numerous tribes have legends of massive, hairy creatures that would kidnap and eat humans, overpowering them with their ferocity and strength. The creatures go by many names, among them Nagila, Nagagi, and Angahina. In the 16th century, English explorer Andrew Patel spoke of man-like apes that would visit his campfire at night. And in 1860, explorer Du Chaillu wrote of violent, bloodthirsty forest monsters. Up until the 20th century, many of these tales were ignored or discounted. In 1902 German officer Captain Robert von Barine shot one of these man-apes in the Virunga region of Rwanda. Bringing it back to Europe with him, he introduced the world to a new species of ape, the mountain gorilla. Today, mountain gorillas are known to be communal, largely docile herbivores that live in the Virunga Mountains in Central Africa, as well as in Bwindi National Park in Uganda. Mountain gorillas are threatened by poaching and civil unrest, elusive and often unseen in their activities. No more than 400 remain in the wild today, sadly. One of the earliest written accounts of gorillas may come from Hanno the Navigator, a Carthaginian explorer who documented his travels along the African coast in 500 BC. Hanno describes a tribe of gorillae, roughly meaning hairy people. It is unknown whether Hanno referred to gorillas, another species of ape, or even humans. Nevertheless, his description served as the inspiration for the modern name gorilla. Number 6. The Giant Squid. Tales of enormous squids have circulated throughout the world since ancient times. Perhaps the most famous legendary squid is the Norse Kraken, a monstrous tentacled beast as large as an island that devoured ships whole. Prior to the 1870s, scientific opinion held such creatures as nothing more than ridiculous myths, on par with mermaids or sea serpents. And yet, investigations into the existence of the legendary Kraken took place as early as the 1840s. Danish zoologist Johan Japetus Steensup methodically researched and cataloged giant squid sightings and strandings, eventually examining a beached corpse and designated the beast's scientific name, Architeuthis. Even so, fellow scientists remained skeptical and continued to dismiss accounts. That is until more and more carcasses washed onto the shore. Today we all know what a giant squid is. We even know of its larger cousin. However, much is left unknown. Very little is known about its habits and lifestyle, and it's still unknown how large a giant squid can actually grow. The largest specimen are between 30 and 40 feet long, weighing over 100 pounds. However, its close relative, the colossal squid, may grow to much greater sizes, as evidenced by the size of sucker marks on sperm whales. To this day, the giant squid remains a legendary example of how fantastic animals on Earth can actually be. Number 5. The kangaroo. Early explorers to Australia described bizarre creatures never before seen by Europeans. They wrote of creatures with heads like deer that stood upright like men and hopped like frogs. The creatures sometimes sported 2 heads, one on their shoulders and one on the stomach. Such accounts were understandably disregarded and ridiculed by fellow colleagues. But that all changed in the 1770s, when a dead specimen of this odd beast was exhibited in England as a public curiosity. Today, this creature is known as the kangaroo, a widespread marsupial endemic to Australia. Well known for their leaping abilities and the female pouch for carrying young, kangaroos are a nationally recognized icon of Australia. 4 species of kangaroo exist: the red kangaroo, the western grey kangaroo, the eastern grey kangaroo, and the antilopine kangaroo. Number 4. The Xiphias. In medieval folklore, the Xiphias, or waterfowl, was a monstrous nautical creature said to attack ships in the northern seas. It possessed the body of a fish and the head of an owl, complete with massive eyes and a wedge-shaped beak. Xiphias, meaning sword-like in Latin, may refer to the beast's fin, which was said to pierce the hulls of ships like a sword. Today, the inspiration for the Xiphias is known as Cuvier's beaked whale, a widespread species of beaked whale. Also known as the goose-beaked whale, this creature is found as far north as the Shetland Islands and as south as Tierra del Fuego at the tip of South America. It is the only member of the genus Xiphias, which bears the name of its legendary identity. Some additionally attribute the inspiration of the Xiphias to the orca or the great white shark, based on some depictions of the beast as a predator to seals. Number 3. The Bondagazoo. The Bondagazoo, or Man of the Forest, is a legendary ancestral spirit of the Moni people in western Indonesia. Described as a tree-dwelling creature, the Bondagazoo resembles a small man covered in black and white fur. It is said to be a tree climber, but often stands on the ground in a bipedal stance. In the 1980s, a photograph of the Bondagazoo was sent to Australian research scientist Tim Flannery, who initially identified the creature as a young tree kangaroo. However, in May 1994, Flannery conducted a wildlife survey of the area and discovered that the animal in the picture was new to science. The dingiso, or Dendrolagus membaso, as the creature is also known, is a forest-dwelling marsupial with bold coloration that spends most of its time on the ground. The dingysill remains a rare sight. The first real evidence of the creature was only skins, and to this day, no other exists in captivity. Now it's time for today's best pick. And today's pick is a creature that has given sailors fears and nightmares for centuries. Find out what people thought it was and what it actually is next with number 2. The sea serpent. For centuries, the sea serpent persisted as the most captivating cryptozoological mystery in the entire world. Sightings of these mysterious and often frightening creatures have occurred plentifully throughout history, even up until the early 20th century. From northern European waters to eastern North American coast, tales of serpentine aquatic beasts of colossal proportions dot the globe. Their descriptions vary, ranging from horse-headed creatures to massive snakes. Cryptozoologists speculate the various misidentified animals can account for sea serpent sightings. However, one elusive species is a particularly likely source for many of these accounts. The oarfish, also called ribbonfish, is a massive elongated fish found worldwide. It is the longest of all bony fish, the largest recorded being 56 feet in length. Oarfish typically dwell in the deep ocean, but are occasionally washed ashore in storms, and linger at the surface near death. A live oarfish was filmed for the first time in 2001, demonstrating its rarity and reclusive nature. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works. Number 1. The Devil Bird. The Devil Bird, or Ulama, is a frightening horned bird of Sri Lankan folklore. This elusive creature is rarely seen, but is often heard in the form of its infamous blood-curdling screams. Its cries are said to resemble a wailing woman and are perceived by locals as an omen of death. For centuries, the nocturnal cries of the devil bird were the only evidence of its existence. Western science wrote it off as mere superstition. Then in 2001, the devil bird was identified as a new species of owl, that being the spot-bellied eagle owl, or known scientifically as Bubo nipalensis. The largest of all Sri Lankan owls, the Bubo nipalensis matches the description of the Ulama perfectly, down to its characteristic screech and tufted horns. Although some debate still remains as to the true nature of the devil bird, the spot-bellied eagle owl stands as the most animals. Click on any inspiration for this mysterious creature.